BOBBYFI with the man Eric Sheets-Haber. We're going to be talking through tonight's MLB baseball slate. It's a big one. We have some games. We have some weather that I am probably going to suggest we just ignore those games. I did do a recording with Goldie, which I want to check out. I tell everybody this all the time, but for those of you who don't know, Goldie does aggregate all the projections throughout the industry and is doing a great job and has a really unique take on a lot of the baseball stuff. He's really up with the prospects. He's a real asset. So it was a really nice video to do with him. Really happy to have a good night in NBA last night to win the 555, but the secondary 555 because the other one sold out in like 10 minutes apparently. But nice to have the 10K win there, and then also had a good night in baseball. Ended up cashing with my big buy-in on FanDuel somehow with Mania, and I ended up winning the $20 3 max on DraftKings, and I ended up 8th in the relay throw. I almost had a chance to win that one. I did post that lineup for you guys. It is another thing of why I would suggest taking a look at some of the early lineup builds, because I come off of some things like because I was worried about weather, but I left it in like the $15. That tournament would have won the 555 in a landslide. So, but I'm not going to sit here bitching about how I should have won 50K. I'm just going to say like there is a value to seeing these lineup builds, and then as I adjust them, I do try to update everyone in the premium section. So make sure that you have our premium and all that. With that said, I know Sheets is a little bit under the weather with the throat, so I might do more talking today. But Sheets, how are you feeling? And any sort of overall thoughts before we jump into game by game?
Yeah, my overall thoughts. I mean, I'm looking at not my overall thoughts, but one thing I just noticed, I looked at the weather, the two games that are somewhat relevant, and dude, we got to get this Cleveland game in, man. I mean, this is we already need to go 2 out of 3.
Well, here's the thing, though. Is it better that we may have to just go 1 out of 1? Because that is a possibility.
1 out of 1. There are 3 games left.
I know. They might miss two. 2 of them could legitimately.
Well, that's fine. If they miss 2 of them, then that's it's definitely no. Actually, it's better to have to go 2 out of 3 or 3.
Oh, it's probably better to have to go 2 out of 3, but for some reason it feels better in my head to go 2 for them just to win 1.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's fortunately not, fortunately or unfortunately, whatever. It's probably going to not matter for the DFS purposes.
Dude, it's gonna come down to are we gonna need to win a doubleheader? No, we won't need to win a doubleheader.
Maybe. Possibly.
No, because we won't be 1 and 3. I mean, I think that.
It might have to be. Yeah, you're right. So we probably wouldn't know by then.
I don't know. That's for a Survivor, by the way, which I again encourage everybody to kind of post in there.
Yeah, check out the Survivor stuff for sure. It's really fun, even though it's been a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into the slate. We'll go game by game here. I'll do it using DraftKings. So we'll start off with Detroit and Baltimore. I'll go first real quick. I have some interest in Tyler Wells. Not a huge, crazy amount. Not overly excited. Not under excited. If you look at the projections, like he's projected 3 points less than the highest projected player on the slate. Now we all know that the range of outcomes are likely that because we have some top spend ups today, that one of those guys hits around 30. But Tyler Wells getting 15 to 20 might be good enough as an SP2, and he is on my list. And more importantly, I think have Baltimore as my favorite stack of the night. Lorenzen did not look good in his first start back from the injury, and he's not good anyway. Bad bullpen behind him. I know that they've been good. I don't care. I just know the actual guys on their roster, and I am going to be into playing some Baltimore today.
Yeah, I have Wells as a kind of a good low-owned SP2. I don't have him rated as one of the. I have 2 guys that are at the top, and then I have him as kind of tied for the SP2 between a couple of other guys. But yeah, I mean, as far as ownership goes, I have him rated pretty low as far as ownership. So it's good. I'm not quite getting to Baltimore yet as far as the stack goes, but I'll certainly give it another look. And definitely not going to get to Lorenzen. So early look here is Wells, definitely part of MME. Don't know if it's going to be my big buy-in pitcher. Probably not. But definitely, if you play 20 lineups, I'll definitely get him in a couple.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, 82 degrees in Baltimore today. Some nice winds blowing out to left field. Feels like a good spot to play them for me. All right, moving on. What do we have next? Toronto, New York. Why don't you start off with your Yankees and
Yeah, I'm not getting, again, this is like early looks. I'm really going off my projections and kind of like my feel. Like, first of all, it is 10,000 degrees today in New York.
Mhm.
I don't really have much of an interest in the pitchers here. I'm not getting to Toronto as far as hitting goes, but I'm getting to a little bit of the Yankees. I have them, again, I have two teams that are kind of near the top, and then two others that I want to play kind of as leverage stacks. And then I have like this other group of two teams that are kind of the next, and that's the Yankees. So I have like six stacks I'm looking at as my top ones I want to play, and the Yankees are one of them. So I like the Yankees and none of the pitching.
Yeah, it's actually supposed to. I guess it's going to cool down a lot later because it's supposed to be 60 around game time.
Okay.
And you've got the wind, 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing in from center. This game is close to a cross-off for me.
Oh, okay.
I actually think I probably have a little more interest in Kikuchi and Herman, but just because I don't love that mid tier on the slate today, so I'm okay with like those guys. I wouldn't. I'm certainly not going to talk anybody out of a Toronto or a Yankees stack. I just personally am going other directions. Even if you don't stack the Yankees, you can certainly get a complimentary stack with a Judge Volpe and then Peraza or Cabrera to save money, something like that. I have no problem with the secondary Yankee stack against Kikuchi, but I don't think they're a primary for me. All right, moving on to what you got next. It's the Colorado Philadelphia sheets. I guess I'll go through it first here real quick. So Nola is going to be crazy popular. I don't think he's going to be as popular as the early projections are. Maybe he will because there's not, his projection is so solid. I personally am going to probably be on him because I'm a big Nola guy. I feel shaky about it, and there's other guys who I have as pivots or maybe to play together that we'll talk about in a little bit. But I have Nola as in play, and then I have Philly as my second favorite stack as of right now. And that's where I'm at. The weird part is I have Philly as my second favorite stack, and I love the idea of playing Noah Davis here at 5,600. The kid's a top arm talent. It's nice that you don't have to play him in cores. Looked good his first outing, threw 95 pitches. It's a tough matchup. It's no picnic. But if we're going to talk about dumpster diving for guys with upside, and there'll be some other ones I'll mention. But even Wells in the other game, like Davis has more upside. He also has a significant downside. But I'm kind of interested in taking this play with Davis and maybe doing it. So I'm certainly considering a get weird Davis play. It also does me the favor of I'll probably have like 30% Philly stacks tonight, so it's sort of a little bit of a hedge against that. But I definitely think that's an interesting route to go, and that's what I'm doing. So mostly it's Nola and the Phillies, but I will throw in Noah Davis into some large field tournaments.
Yeah, I currently have not this. Wait, where's my?
Oh, look at that though.
Yeah, where's my lineup? I currently have Nola as one of the two top pitchers, and we'll get to the other one in a little bit. And listen, you get Colorado on the road. It's one of the reasons why he's going to project really well. So I like him a lot. And then I have Philly as one of the top, just kind of like raw stacks on the board, if not the top one. They're a little, they're a little on the expensive side, I guess. Maybe not. I mean, so I definitely so I like. I mean, like Schwarber 6K, Turner 6K. You know what I mean? It's not like they're cheap. But I do like them, and I like Nola. I never even heard of Noah Davis, so I'll definitely do a little more work on that. But yeah, I'm down. I'm down for a $5,500 pitcher that has upside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a totally get weird play that has some real merit to it because they've never faced him before, and that we know that can go one of two ways. You know what I mean? Like, and it usually goes drastically one or the other. Also, Colorado with a lousy bullpen behind them. All right. Next up, Miami, Cleveland, which is going to. I don't even think there's a reason to talk about this game right now. I think it seems unlikely to play it at best. If it played, I don't have any interest in it, so I don't really know what else to say here.
If this game did play, I would have interest in Plesac at 6,500. But like you said, I don't know if it's going to play. Keep an eye on it. I mean, it's not like it's – this is pure orange, right? if somehow you get an all clear by then, and listen, you got 7 hours for the weather to figure out. I mean, who knows? But I think Plesac at 6,500 has got to be reasonable. So we'll just see how the weather shakes out. I don't have either of the hitting though.
The problem I have, so let's take like Plesac as an example real quick versus like a Noah Davis. We know Plesac has like no strikeout upside whatsoever. And on a big slate, I'm always going to gamble with the guy who actually can put up a real number. That's just my personal take. But like in terms of safety, Plesac is 1,000. Like it feels like Plesac would actually be a fairly reasonably safe play at 6,500. So I actually wouldn't like. I'm not trying to insult that play. I just personally, I'm really talking myself into trying to play these upside plays rather than go for the Plesacs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, Houston, Atlanta. I'm going to take a take that Goldie had, a take that I had before I talked to Goldie. So one of the top pitchers in all of baseball, the top prospects in all of baseball, has been Hunter Brown. I mean, they literally feel like one of the coaches said, "Oh, we just plug him in for Verlander, and we're not going to miss a beat." This is a guy who I'm going to absolutely force into my lineups today, even against Atlanta. Atlanta actually doesn't scare me as much. They have a little higher of a chase rate than some of the other great hitting teams. They're not quite as patient. And if Hunter Brown is locating, he's got all the leash in the world. If everything's going well and there are strikeouts there, it would not surprise me to see him have you look up and he's got 7 strikeouts in 3 innings and hasn't given up a hit or something. I really think that he's an interesting tournament play. He's going to be significantly lower owned than the other top spends, like basically unowned. And I think he outscores all of them enough to where he's going to be viable for me. That's my strongest take. I'm not getting to the hitting much in this game, and maybe that's a mistake. Houston would be more interesting, obviously, to me than Atlanta, but I'm just not all that interested in the hitting here. So, Sheets, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, I'm gonna have my 10% of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I also would say that the Elder's not bad. Not from a projection perspective, just like my own, just
yeah, he's looked pretty good.
Looking, I mean, he's just not bad, you know. And I just don't think I can do it today. I'm not, you know, I'll root for you with the Hunter Brown, except for the 10% of lineups I have with Atlanta.
Okay,
I'm not getting to the pitching though, or the hitting at all.
Yeah. All right.
I'll tell you, you know the way to make a 15 game slate like smaller?
What's that?
Have like a sore throat. That's like
yeah. And this is actually the kind of slate you can do it too. All right. So Texas and Oakland. And by the way, congrats, Mark. Nice night in the 555. It sounds like for you last night. It looked like you would have finished just behind me there, and then. Yeah, the coulda, woulda, shouldas drove me crazy because I had I thought I was going to win the tie for the 100K with like 20 people, but I forgot that I didn't get my DiVincenzo over Kuminga in a couple of my lineups, so that was the one that cost me. Anyway, I have some interest in John Gray, although I think it's going to be less than the field. But I do have interest, and I just think like if I took Gray and Brown, like I understand it's a much better matchup for Gray. But I don't feel like this is some sort of a lock play. And I think he's going to pick up some steam as the day goes on even. And he's already pretty popular. I like Texas. They're the next team for me. I think I have them ranked 3rd. I like them more as a complementary stack, like a 3-man. But I'm totally fine with 5-man. And I just think that this is they've been hot. They've been good. You're playing Oakland. You're playing Sears, who pitches tons of contact. I want to know if the roof is open. I'll try and find that out later. I don't think they've announced it yet, and that's gonna dictate even more. But I have no problem with going right back to Texas, who just seems to score 11 runs every day, and Josh Jung being one of the best plays on the slate. It's still way too cheap. You've got Jankowski for cheapness. I don't know if Jankowski's actually going to start. I'm kind of curious how their lineup shakes out against the lefty because it doesn't seem like they're going to play the lefty at the top of the lineup. So. We'll see how the lineup shakes out. You might get to like a Bubba Thompson or something weird at the top, or you might even see Grossman moved up in the order because he's been better from the right for his past. But I like Texas. They're my 3rd favorite stack. And I do have John Gray. He's one of my guys. He's behind Nola. he's ahead of Brown in reality, but he's below Brown in terms of my leverage on the field. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, you got all these righties. I mean, you got, first of all, you have, I mean, don't undersell how important this is to get like a Jonah Hyman at catcher. You know, get him at catcher at 3,600, and then the studs, man. You get Young, you get Garcia, Simeon. You know, let's go. Simeon just basically hits a home run every game, and yeah, they look good to me. They're not one of my top ones. They're just underneath. But you don't have to sell me on that. And Jonathan Gray, actually, I say Jonathan. It's so funny. I actually know a Jonathan Gray who's a lawyer. That's why I keep calling him Jonathan Gray. John Gray, I have him rated the same way you kind of said. I mean, I like him a little bit, but might not be quite as much as the field might like him. I would probably be more inclined. Well, we'll get to him. Somebody else later. Similar price, I guess. But yeah, I mean, yeah, John Gray's fine. Maybe pair him with Texas. That makes some sense.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm not getting to anything on Oakland.
All right. We will move on then to, let's see. I'm going to see which game it is because first, Boston, Milwaukee. Okay. So I'm guessing this is going to be the stack that you're going to like. Am I wrong? No, I guess I am wrong.
No, I mean, they're fine. They're one of the four. Yeah, so I have Milwaukee as one of the top four. Not necessarily the best, but you know, I definitely like them. Pivetta, you know, you can get to him. And Pivetta can also have good games from time to time. I keep saying that, but sometimes it seems like the time to time has a lot more time in between. Let's put it that way.
Right.
That's a little tongue twister there, but basically means he's been sucking more than he's been doing better, I think. But he still has upside, I think. I'm not going to get to him as an option, but it's not just so easy to say, oh, just give me Milwaukee against Pivetta. But I do like that. The interesting question for me is what to do with Peralta, because I mean, listen, I mean, if he gets it going, I mean, he's got 30-point upside, you know. He never really projects that well on a median basis. So I usually don't get to him, but I think I have to consider it. You got Nola, who's a good play. We'll get to Ohtani. I guess we'll talk about that. But on his best day, Peralta is just right up there with these guys.
Yeah, I'm not crossing out Pivetta, by the way, as a play. I'm definitely keeping an open mind to it because the price and the situation, and it wouldn't surprise me because those, you know, like I said, they may come rarely, but this is a team with Milwaukee that you're going to hear this from me a lot. I'll be playing a lot of them hitting wise, and I'll be taking pitchers against them a lot because they do chase a lot. They don't walk enough either for my liking. I think they might be a little better this year than they have been in the past. I am high on Peralta, but I'm high on a lot of these spend up pitchers. So I do think Peralta belongs right there with Ohtani, with John Gray. I know he's a little cheaper. But I do like these guys for what it's worth. I am not as afraid of the Red Sox as maybe some others are, and I'm willing to gamble on Freddie Peralta anytime he takes the mound. I do like Milwaukee as somewhere between my fourth and fifth favorite stack, but I think I'm using them sort of like I said with Texas, probably more complementary stack, probably more 3-mans than full 5-man stacks, just because of the lack of in general how much they walk. Although Pivetta will walk people. And Boston has a bad bullpen, but I really like the top 6 in their lineup. I don't know if I want to go any further and stack the bottom. I guess you can always fill in with those guys, but I want to play the 3 of the top 6, or maybe I will get to a full stack. But I do think that they are very interesting for tournaments. All right, Washington, Minnesota. This game is going to snow. It is snowing as far as I know, something like that. I don't know how to break this game down, and I ran through this with Goldie earlier. It's not that the game, like it actually is more like they, you know, Roth, for example, has it as more likely to play than Miami, Cleveland, but do they want to play in a somewhat windy day in 30-degree weather when it's snowing, even if it's just little snow? it doesn't seem like an ideal thing, but it is Minnesota, and they are going to have they have to face this every year. It's the only team that has to deal with snow as an issue. So I'm sort of off of I'm off of this game just in general. If they played and we felt comfortable it was playing, obviously Tyler Mahle would look like a really good pitching option. I would be into that. But I just don't see. I certainly wouldn't play any hitters in this game. And yeah, it would be just Mahle, and I still think there's enough other options where we don't need to use him. So as of right now, I'm treating it like it doesn't exist.
I have Mahle rated similarly to John Gray. That's what I was going to ask you about. So if this game plays, those are like the like decisions. I mean, fact is, Washington's the worst. You know what I mean? And if I had any kind of confidence this game's going to play or whatever, I'd play Tyler Mahle. I mean, why not? So I like that. I'll also say, by the way, I'm not going to play him, but Trevor Williams is like not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's all I'll leave it at. It's just I'm not going to play him or anything like that. But there'll be slates where I would play him at 6K.
At 6K, it seems like a little bit like, oh yeah, he could have a good outing for 6K.
Good enough, you know.
Yeah,
but not today. And I'm not getting to the hitting here. So me, it's just Mahle or nothing.
Yep. All right, we can move along then to San Diego and Arizona. I'm sorry, to LA and KC. I'll go real quick. I love Shohei. Always a great option. Seems like the kind of lineup that he should thrive on. They chase a lot. They don't walk a lot. There's a lot of good things for Shohei in this matchup. He's just expensive, and it's whether you can get him in. I think it's worth it to try and get him in, but I actually, I think I'll end up with some Peralta, Ohtani lineups and dumpster dive elsewhere. But I do like Shohei, and I am probably going I like the Angels, but I think that I actually thought they were going to be really popular, and then I looked and they're really not. I'm going to revisit the Angels as maybe going ahead of the Brewers on my stacks because I do think that they're viable. It's always annoying because you can't play Shohei, obviously. Maybe you just hope he gets 5 walks and keeps the lineup moving for your guys. But I can certainly talk myself into the Angels. Bad team that they're playing. If you do get to what started the problem with the Angels is these either bullpen or and this is going to be a long relief game for Yarbrough. Those just always seem like you never get the full 15-run game or something. You know what I mean? Like that you need to win a tournament. And that's why I'm a little bit lower on the Angels. But I think it certainly, you throw a lefty like Yarbrough who has struggled against this Angels lineup, Trout, Rendon, Taylor Ward, Hunter Renfroe. They're expensive, but they're going to be unowned, and they are definitely interesting to me.
Yeah, so I have Ohtani and Nola as the top 2 pitchers. And I have the Angels as one of my favorites. So it's tough to not be able to play Ohtani, but nonetheless, they still rate to be one of my top stacks. And the fact that they're not, it's because they're not getting owned, Now, bullpen games are usually rough business, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah, this is not a typical bullpen game for what it's worth. Yarbrough is doing – I don't know why Yarbrough is this guy. Like, he leaves Tampa Bay, and they're still the only team, the guy they do this with in KC.
He's like a professional long reliever, I think.
But he pitches the same amount of innings and pitches as a regular starter. It doesn't make any sense.
So Angels are fine for me, as is Ohtani, and nothing from Kansas City.
Yep. Angels, that's basically where I'm at. If it was a short slate, I would be saying to chase the KC thing, but to go after the KC thing. I always like to play against Ohtani on short slates because he plays in a lot of them because they'd always get like the national TV games. And as great as he is, and he is great, he's going to have a few games every year where he just gets crushed.
So I have a question. How did everybody do with the free money on Tatis at 2K yesterday?
Yeah, it didn't work, right? Love it. It was a good play by us. I think I ended up with 10% of them. And it was only in like
it happens 30% of the time, man. Like Mike Trout goes 0 for 30% of the time, and that's the way it goes. And now he's 5,100 and probably gets 3 home runs. But I'm a little bit confused. So I do have San Diego rated as a good stack here, but I'm a little confused here. I wish I'm not confused. I was about to ask like why Zach Allen is not just like why does he not project to be like the greatest pitcher ever? You know what I mean? Every time I see him, he just goes bananas. But I guess San Diego's tough, which is why at 9,600 is going to be tough to play. But I mean, he's really, really good. I'll just put it that way. And I really do think he's a legitimate pivot off of those three top guys. Certainly not by projections, but I just know his ceiling is there, and I don't know. I might try it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I hear you. I personally am siding like. It's weird because I'm playing Hunter Brown against Atlanta, who I think is a better team, but the Padres have the best lineup in baseball, no question, on paper. That doesn't mean they actually are, but and not only that, they have tough at-bats in there. Like it's not like you're just getting everybody up there swinging and chasing at the first pitch. Machado, Soto, Bogarts, Cronenworth, very professional hitters. Throw Carpenter in there if you want to. Yeah. It's just a tough lineup to get through, and I believe the roof is going to be open again to make matters even a little bit worse for them.
Okay, forget it.
but I'm not opposed to it. Like I mean, me and Goldie threw out the idea of maybe playing Gallen and Brown together and just have nobody in the world with that lineup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These guys are going to be 2%. There's no way they're getting paired together. So I'm into the idea. I'm into it as a very long shot play. Unfortunately, I didn't get to the hitting as much in this game, but I have no issue if anyone wants to play Arizona. What I would say is I think Arizona is another one of the best bullpens, probably the best bullpen in baseball. Well, on paper, San Diego should be. But if you wanted to play the lefties from Arizona, I am totally on board tonight. Carroll, you've got Moreno's, who's 2,400 catching. Hitting sixth. He was the one blip at the 1-0 I got last night. Josh Rojas. Those would be my three favorites. Marte would be in there. Then Christian Walker. I think this is a reasonable shot to take a shot in Arizona. I'm actually Arizona's moved up my list since my last show, and they're right there with the Brewers, Angels crew. All right. Let's talk about the Seattle and St. Louis game. I guess that my personal take on this one is that I think both pitchers are interesting. Kirby hasn't been striking people out, but he can just mow through innings in no time because he's always around the plate. He just doesn't throw balls. He doesn't walk people. Sure, there can be dangerous sometimes. It hasn't really hurt him that much. I think Matt's is a little bit more interesting for me, but I think both these guys deserve consideration. And I have no problem with the people out there saying they want to stack Seattle. Oh, we're going to attack Matt's and all this stuff. I just don't think I'm personally going to be one of them, at least not as of right now. Seattle's been really, really disappointing from the plate this year.
Yeah. So I think this is one of those games for me where you have the pitchers are just good enough to keep me off of the hitting, and the hitters are just good enough to keep me off of the pitching. So I'm probably going to end up getting neither. I mean, like Kirby and Matz are both very reasonable, but I don't think either team's a particularly good matchup. So I'm probably going to be off of this game.
That's sort of where I'm at too. I'm just doing a quick check because I know that some of these guys have faced. If there's anything that stands out, nothing really about. Okay, nothing from historical stuff that stands out at all. Then you get the late night hammer in San Francisco, and man, I'll tell you, I felt really good. It feels really good when you're playing a 5-game slate, even though it wasn't like the first few innings they didn't score any runs, and you look at the Mets and they're all like 5% owned. It just felt really, really nice to have them, and then felt even nicer to have them when they all started hitting home runs and scored 9 runs or whatever it was, and made it a really good slate for me. So that felt nice. As I thought, Manaea, that's the kind of matchup that he has trouble with, something to keep an eye out for the future. These Mets are tough, man. I can't do the DeScalfani against them. I understand the argument for it. I don't think it's all that different than the Mets play. But the Mets are patient. It just feels so hard to get a really good game against them unless your name is Clayton Kershaw. They look like, kindergartners facing a major leaguer. And Lucchese's just coming back. a guy, and I would be open to lefties. I like to play lefties against San Francisco. I don't know if he'll pitch enough pitches to matter. And I think if I was going to dumpster dive, I would pick Davis over him because I know there's a leash. But basically, this game is not all that interesting to me, although I'm going to say I have no issue if you want to take a Mets stack.
Yeah, that's what I like. I like the Mets, and I like and I might take a shot with Lucchesi also. Definitely a lot of risk. His first major league start since Tommy John surgery, but they've been meaning to get him here. You know what I mean? Like they want him as a starter, and now with Carrasco injured, I think they they let him go here. I don't know. I think they see what he has. So we're gonna see. But he's and the fact that you said you don't mind playing lefties against San Francisco in general, I think he's a very reasonable 5,400 player.
He hasn't pitched in 2 years.
I know. I know. I hear you.
So if we're going to consider him, that guy Noah Davis, we should certainly.
Well, that's what I was getting at. So I was going to finish off on Lucchesi by saying, listen, he has pitched a couple of minor league games, and he's an average, a strikeout per inning. You know what I mean, in the minors, which will certainly take. But like you said, I mean, the Noah Davis, Noah Davis can, if things go right, can put up 25 points. You know what I mean? Like Lucchesi, if he's like the Mets as an organization would be freaking pumped if he pitched well enough to get like 15 fantasy points.
Right.
So that's where I'm at with that. I might end up doing it in some buy-ins. I might end up late swapping if I have to do something like that. But I do like the Mets. I think that Marte's going to be back in the lineup, by the way, tonight.
Yeah, I think so too.
And so I do like the Mets. So just to go over my top five, really in no particular order. There's Philly, San Diego, Angels, Mets, and Milwaukee with the Yankees right underneath. And then as far as the pitching goes, as far as like projections go, it's Ohtani and Nola for me. And then I think that Mahle and Gray are like kind of fairly priced second tier guys. So I don't know if I want to deviate by playing those guys. I think that if I was going to deviate from the top guys, I would take like random, like bad projection plays, like Gallen, like just seems suicidal, or maybe like your Noah Davis play, something like that. I wouldn't play the Gray. I don't think I'd play Gray. You know what I mean? Like that natural. And I don't know if I play Peralta either, actually. So I don't know. I might play Mahle though. I might do that.
Yeah, just beware of the weather in that one. That's the only one.
Obviously, I mean,
and I've got my stacks 1 through 6 here. Well, so I have Baltimore 1, Philly 2, Seattle 3. I'm sorry, Texas 3. The Brewers, Angels, and Diamondbacks I have all in the same range, where I sort of more prefer them as a 3-man. But I'm open to all of them. And then the outside looking in, but the guys I might get some exposure to as 3-mans are Astros and Mets. Pitching, I really don't know what I'm going to do yet. As of right now, Nola and Ohtani are the ones I feel the best about. But I am totally open to changing that, and I will make sure to have some of the Hunter Brown and the Davis. Just play the young studs kind of a thing. But that's pretty much all I got. Sheets, are you good?
I'm good. I'm gonna do my best to be here for live later. If not, hopefully you guys will understand.
Yep.
I just so you guys know, I did brave the throat elements and did an MMA betting breakdown, which is up on the site. DFS MMA is up on the site. There's no truck series tonight. There's Xfinity tomorrow and Cup Sunday. If I'm around, maybe I'll cajole Brandon into doing a live lineup build at some point for one of the NASCAR races. And I have a very, very light weekend because I don't feel that great anyway. So I'll be around posting stuff, and we'll see how it goes.
All right, man. Well, feel better, and hopefully we'll see you later and feeling better. And good luck. Good luck today.